Episode 3 of Game of Wool was interesting. Hello, my name is Hannah. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about episode 3 of Game of Wool. Yes, I've already recorded half an hour of this video, only to realise that my mic wasn't properly plugged in, so we're starting it again. I don't think there's anything to catch you up on that has happened since the last time I spoke to you about this show, other than Game of Wool have a YouTube channel where they're uploading extra content. I haven't checked any of it out. I don't know what any of it's like. They apparently have recorded some snippets or segments with experts, and it was meant to be featured in the show, but was eventually cut from the show, or actually cut from the show because of timing. It makes sense. It's an hour TV show that you're fitting into. No, it's 25 hours of filming-ish that you're trying to fit into an hour. So, unfortunately, some things are going to get cut. Meadow came out with a video that I also haven't watched, I won't lie, in which she talked about how she's not that new a knitter, and I don't know why they made it seem like she was. And she knew she twisted her stitches, she just didn't know that it was a problem, because apparently it's just a common way that people knit in Northern Ireland. I don't know. Let me know if that is true. Many of you pointed out that she could have been twisting her pearls by wrapping her yarn around the needle the wrong way. I'd forgotten that that was a thing. My bad. This week in Game of Wool, we have holiday week. And you might be thinking, oh, Hannah, it's November. So that must mean Halloween, Christmas, New Year, maybe Valentine's Day, holidays. No, my friend, you would be wrong. Summer holidays, beach week. It's essentially beach week. Within the first, 4 minutes of the TV show, we get the recap. Fewer than 4 minutes. We get the recap, and then all of a sudden Tom Daly's stripping off down to his swimmers and running in the sea. So, sure. More power to him. We know the format by now. We have 2 challenges. We have a team challenge. We have a solo challenge. Other way around. Solo challenge, team challenge. Sorry, I didn't mean to just swear at you. And the first half of the show focuses on the solo challenge. The second half of the show focuses on the team challenge. The solo challenge this week is swimwear. The criteria is striking and glamorous. It is emphasised that the fit is really important. And I think this is quite a good challenge because it really tests the shaping abilities and the like of the contestants. So I think that that's really, really cool. The contestants can choose to either knit or crochet, or a combination of the two. And some of the Olympic diving team are coming to model them, which is pretty cool. They have 12 hours to complete this challenge, so good luck to them. I'm a bit confused on why they're allowed to crochet. And the second challenge, spoiler alert, the second challenge is a crochet challenge. Next week is crochet as well. And I just don't really understand why. I don't get why. It's a different skill. Why is the tagline Britain's best knitter if you're also going to be doing crochet? Now, from a logistical standpoint, I kind of understand, because then you're doubling your audience, because if people see crochet, then they're like, oh, I'm going to watch it. If you crochet and you don't knit, for example, I'd watch it anyway, because craft. But I don't understand. Pick one. You don't have to do both. Contestants can choose to either make a bikini, 2-piece, a swimsuit, 1-piece, or trunks. And if they're choosing to make trunks, they also have to make something alongside it, be it a vest, a bag, something. I imagine just because crocheting, knitting a pair of trunks is less than a 2-piece or a 1-piece. It makes sense. Dipti has chosen to crochet her bikini inspired by Las Vegas because she performed there in a choir, which is really, really cool. I love that. I miss being part of a choir. That was a good time. Simon makes a joke asking her if, because she's performed in Vegas, does that make her a Vegas showgirl? And it's a really funny joke, but I don't know. Dipti's response was a little bit awkward. It kind of went down like a lead balloon. But yeah, I thought it was a funny comment. She's choosing to do granny triangles for the top, and I can't help but think that's a little bit revealing, a little bit saucy. And the yarn that she's chosen feels like an interesting choice for something that is going to be on the skin. Itchy is the word that I'm just going to use, but we'll come back to that when we get to the judging. Lydia's choosing to do a one piece, which I think is really brave, because there's a lot of curves to a lady's body, and I feel like it's quite difficult to shape a one piece, but she's doing it. She's got a nice little lace panel in it. She's got little lacy bits, and I just think it sounds really cool. Lydia comments that she hasn't done much designing prior to the show. Any designing prior to the show, and so it's really cool to see. I followed Waku Yarn on Instagram for a very long time. We're somewhat friendly, Lydia being one half of Waku Yarn along with her sister Hannah. It's really cool to see that this show has given her either the ability or the confidence to come out with designs of her own. So she's recently come out with a design called Interwoven, which is a beautiful colourwork sweater, and she's got a few other designs out or in the works as well. And I love that this show just seems to have given her, like I say, the confidence or the ability to come out with designs herself. So check out Lydia's designs if you're a Lydia fan, and Interwoven, I think it's just a really pretty pattern. Simon is choosing to crochet his trunks, which I find interesting, because in the previous week he said that he's not that confident with crochet, he's not as good at crochet, but he's choosing to crochet, and he's doing circles inspired by Disneyland, and then is freeforming them together, and has basically said he's winging it. Now, that bothers me a little bit. It bothers me on Sewing Bee, it bothers me on Bake Off when contestants say the same thing. Why are you saying that you're winging it? Because you've been chosen over potentially thousands of people who have entered, and it's possibly the edit. Like I said, you've got 25 hours worth of knitting that you've got to fit into a short amount of time. 45 minutes. I know I said the show's an hour, but there's adverts, so 45 minutes-ish. It just comes across as though he's not taking it as seriously as some of the other contestants, and I just find that quite frustrating to watch, because he's saying that he said the previous week he was winging it, and that didn't work in his favour, so he's winging this week's as well. Now, maybe he's just saying it to come across as nonchalant. Maybe he doesn't want to look like he's taking it too seriously. And I understand that. But at the same time, it does bother me. Tom Daley seems to be really settling into the role of host, I feel. I do think he could do with a comedian counterpart to bounce off of. I think that would be good. He does seem to be settling into the role a little bit. I know he was a controversial choice because some people don't like the fact he's put on a pedestal in the knitting world, and I completely understand that. But I feel like he does all right in this show. It's not really that focused on him. And yeah, I feel like he's relaxing into it a little bit. The judges, on the other hand, still seem to be taking it extremely seriously, which I get. Don't get me wrong, because, knitting is their career. So I get why they're serious about it. Lydia makes Di cry before she even sees the finished swimsuit, of course. But Tracy makes, an offhand witty comment about how the fuchsias that she's going to be attaching to a bikini, how they're going to be drooping, but hopefully the top of the bikini won't be drooping because it will be supportive enough. And it's just like a little, it's not actually that funny, but it's funny enough to warrant a smile. Deadpan response from the judges. So we are on to the judging, and I really like Lydia's up first. I really like Lydia's design. I think it was really creative. I think it's really, really fun. You can see the shaping I just think it fits really, really well, which is so important. And the lace work was really effective. Now, I don't know how effective these will be as actual functioning swimsuits, but that's also fine. They're not diving in the pool, so I guess it doesn't matter. I guess they can be like sunbathing swimsuits. We're moving on to dip tees, which, as I predicted, if this diver, whose name I've completely forgotten, if this diver hadn't been wearing pasties and underwear underneath her bikini, we would have seen full nip, I'm pretty sure, because it was very gappy. Tracy was considerate in the shaping of her bikini top. I loved the shaping of Tracy's bikini top. I think it fit really, really well. But she made sure the middle part was solid, so modesty was intact. The diver was asked if Dipty's bikini was comfortable, and the diver didn't say no, but said that she didn't think she'd be able to wear it without the underwear underneath. It was a thong made from quite itchy looking yarn. I feel for that diver. I really do. Stephanie's bikini didn't fit that well. She kind of ran out of time a little bit. She got her shaping wrong. And she said that she wanted to show a bit more diversity to the judges in her abilities. So that's why she chose to crochet instead of knit. But she said she's not as comfortable with crocheting as with knitting, which, why would you choose it? I guess because it's quicker. And like she said, she wanted to show a bit of diversity in her abilities. I get it. But also, she completely crocheted her cardigan in that she wore in the first episode. So I'm not quite sure what to believe here. Holger, as standard, fabulous. It looks really good. He did crochet trunks and a string vest. They called it mesh, but it's a string vest. And I think it looked really, really good. The trunks fit really well. He seems to be in a bit of a different league to everyone else, which I've seen in the comments. Maybe not everyone else, some of the other contestants, let's say. I've seen in the comments that people have been saying it doesn't seem fair. I'm like, well, it is fair, isn't it? Because he is an amateur knitter. He's not a professional knitter. He has done, if he worked on Savile Row, I imagine he's done tailoring, or what did he do? Interior. We found out in episode 1. I don't remember. I didn't write down the deep lore of each contestant. And yes, this always happens in these kinds of shows where in the first few episodes, people who aren't the best get voted off, and then the confidence builds of some of the other contestants as they go through. So by the end, they're fabulous. And the people who are good all along just kind of are good, whereas the other contestants, not all of them, but many of them, kind of improve as their confidence builds. But the people that are always good just kind of remain good. So I think that's what's probably going to happen to Holger. He's just going to remain good while some of the other contestants around him improve. I don't know. Simon's don't fit great. He did a little lacy up the side, which he said was to make it look a bit more chic, but it looks like it's because he knew it wasn't going to fit. So he did that up the side, so like a corset, so he could cover himself. So if it needed to be let out a little bit, it could be, I don't know. Why did he crochet if he's much more comfortable with knitting? I really like Ailsa's as well. She did a harlequin design. I think it looked really good. I think the strap would have looked better because there was comments that you could see the end of the strap where she'd braided it. I think the strap would have looked better if it was an I-cord, but it could have been a time thing. We're on to the team challenge. The team challenge, they are split into 4 teams of 2 because there's 8 contestants left, and they have to crochet a sling for a deck chair. The theme is holiday. You've got to make a holiday themed deck chair. Once again, summer holidays, beach holidays, not Christmas. That would have been fun though. One of the criteria is it has to be functional because Tom Daley will be parking his backside in it. And because it's a crochet challenge, they have brought on a crochet judge, Janie Crow. She's designed some really beautiful things. One of the comments I've written is, how will this become a kit? Lol. So it doesn't look like any yarn brands have decided to profit off of this week. So I guess that's a plus. Or they just decided that the designs weren't kit worthy. Or maybe the kits didn't use enough yarn, so they didn't want to sell it. We get a little bit of technical info at the start of this challenge. Janie talks to us about the crochet stitches that they could use, why some would be better than others, and how some would be more stretchy. We get shown how to do a treble, which I'm sure a lot of you who follow American patterns or who are American are confused why they're calling a double crochet a treble. We have different terminology. It gets confusing. I found it really interesting to see what stitches people chose, what techniques people chose. There was a choice of 3 different yarns. They could choose either a thin cotton yarn, a thick cotton yarn, or a stretchy t-shirt yarn. 2 of the teams chose, I was going to say most, I guess it technically is. 2 of the teams chose the thick cotton yarn. 1 team chose the stretchy cotton yarn, stretchy t-shirt yarn, and the other team chose the thin cotton yarn. Bold choice. I forgot to say they have 8 hours to complete this. Not the usual 10 that they've had previously, just 8 hours. I feel like this episode is the first one where we see Holger a little bit flustered. He and Isaac decide to do intarsia crochet, cone of chips in newspaper. Oh, I really want a chippy tea. I've not had chippy tea in so long. Delicious. But it looks beautiful. But they chose the thin yarn to do it in, which they decided to choose the thin yarn because they'd be able to work faster. But the issue is yes, they worked faster, but the stitches themselves work up slower because it's thinner yarn. If they'd have chosen the thicker yarn, doesn't matter. Stephanie and Dipty have chosen to do granny squares and do like a cocktail glass over the top of it as like an embellishment. I found that interesting because Dipty said that she crochets more than she knits, so I thought she would have chosen something a bit more imaginative stitch wise. Granny squares are great, but it is a bit predictable. They did a sit test and it did not work, and it looked like they joined their stitches together using their squares together, using join as you go, which is functional, but we all know that that's not we don't all know, many of us know, some of us know, it is known that it is not the most secure joining method especially if someone's going to be sitting in it. So yeah, they had to switch up their design a little bit. They made it work beautiful, but I do think that if they'd have like slip stitched them together or double crocheted them together or whip stitched them together, it would have been more secure. But once again, granny squares are very predictable, a little bit boring at this point. Holger and Isaac were doing UK double crochet, US single crochet for the bulk of their design, and they were running out of time, so they ended up having to switch to US double crochet, UK treble, which is a stretchier stitch. There was a bit of sass from Simon, but I think Simon and Holger are friends in real life, so I think you can get away with a bit of sass if you know each other in real life. Simon and Ailsa were quite smart. They chose the thick cotton yarn. They doubled over. They made like a massive loop around the chair, so there was double the amount that they could sit on, and then they decorated it with deck chairs and an ice cream and all sorts of beachy things. I love how it looks. I love, not deck chairs, beach huts. I love a beach hut. I do. I grew up near the seaside. I miss it every day. And I love a beach hut. I just think they look really, really cool. So I loved their design. Lydia and Tracy were teamed up and they did really lovely stitches. I thought the stitches looked really, really nice with some flowers embellishments on. I do think it could have been a little bit more exciting, but they did a cool thing with chains up the back, chain crochet up the back just to add a bit more stability, which seems to have worked. And then yeah, Tom Daly sat in all of these chairs. All of them were functional. I seem to remember Stephanie and Dipty's sank quite a lot, and Holger and Isaac's just didn't work as a deck chair, and he went all the way to the floor when he sat in it because there was just it would just stretch too much. Now this contest, the team challenge is judged blind, and some people would be like, why are they judging it blind? And I understand why you think that, but there's always a challenge that's judged blind in the other shows like this, so I guess that's why it's judged blind, just to make it more akin to these other shows. I do strongly, so Stephanie and Dipty's chair came last. The judges didn't like the design, I don't think. The glass and the umbrella were outlined in black and it just made it look quite harsh. If they'd have chosen different colours, I think it would have worked better, but that's fine. They had the colours that they were given. They were going off beachy theme. I get it, but it was just a little bit harsh, the black outline, so yes. But Holger and Isaac were third. I don't think they should have been third. I think they should have come last. Yes, their design was impressive, and yes, it was very well executed, but I do think they should have come last because the chair didn't function as a chair. Therefore, instantly should have come last, in my opinion. Lydia and Tracy came second, Simon and Ailsa came first. And then we are moving on to who the big knitter was and who was cast off. The big knitter was Lydia for her one-piece costume, and Stephanie was cast off, which is a shame because I thought Stephanie was very talented and I loved her bubbly energy. I thought it was really, really fun. I think it would be really cool in the future or soon if they were to release a pattern for the sheep badge. I think that would be fun. And don't try to profit off it. Make it a free pattern or a free tutorial on YouTube or both. Don't be like, buy this kit to get the pattern. Please don't. Just be nice. I did actually enjoy this episode, but I don't know if it's just because I'm leaning into the silliness of the show. And I do understand why people dislike this show, because you take your craft very, very seriously. And I get it. I fully understand. It is, it's something that we put a lot of time and work and effort into, hours and hours and hours. However, sometimes things are just made for entertainment, and I find this show to be quite entertaining. Sure, the crochet that's being shown is not the best. I feel like this episode gave crochet a bit of a bad name. I won't lie. But maybe it's because now I know what to expect from the show a little bit more and I'm leaning into the silliness. I am enjoying it quite a lot. And I do wish it focused on techniques. I do wish I had a technical challenge where they had to... Somebody said instead of knitting a swatch, it would be cool if they did like a sampler blanket. And that would be so cool. That would be cool if like over 8 weeks they knit like a block for a blanket or whatever. I think that would be cool. Like this week was just a little bit absurd. Like I didn't come away from it feeling inspired in the slightest, unlike the previous week. And I think, I don't know, I think it could be better. I do think it could be better, but I do think that if these shows aren't watched and critiqued, then they can't be improved because they won't be given future series because it won't get the ratings. So I'm not saying you must watch it because that's not my job to do what you want to do in your free time. But yes, I do think it could improve. I do think it could be more knit. I think it needs to choose if it's a knitting or a crochet competition. It could be both. I do think it could be both. But they need to rename it and not be Britain's Best Knitter. Next week, it looks like they've got a focus on crochet as well, which, you know, sure. Why they're 2 weeks in a row, I don't know. And I don't know, the crochet that we saw was just a little bit predictable and a little bit I do think that there is much better crochet out there, but that's because it's Britain's Best Knitter and some people crochet. I'm getting distracted because Miso, my cat, is trying to climb under the tripod. Hello, Miso. If you watched the video that I put out on Friday, you would have heard Miso sat in my lap purring. I was going to say crocheting. Purring her little socks off because she was having such a lovely time. Do you want to say hi to the people? Hi, people. This is Miso. Anyway, I will be continuing to watch. I've already forgotten what next week's theme is. Oh, they've got to crochet, like, oh, it's like play week or something. They've got to crochet children's costumes. So I think that will be quite fun. And I can't remember what the team challenge is. That's fine. It was only yesterday. I did not have a great night's sleep. My child has got a cough, so she kept waking up and therefore waking me up. But yes, I will be continuing to watch it. I wish the judges lightened up a little bit. I mean, so I wish the judges lightened up a little bit. Tom needs someone to bounce off of. The crochet displayed in this week was not, I don't think, was the best. I don't know. I want to come away from these shows feeling inspired. I often come away from Bake Off being like, I want to bake something. And after watching the first, oh God, thanks Miso, the first season of Sewing Bee, I bought a sewing machine. I'd never used it. I gave it to my sister. But I have not felt inspired. Last week I did actually, because I wanted to make an intarsia jumper anyway. So did I feel inspired coming away from it? Who knows? But I will be continuing to watch it. I don't think I'm going to be inspired to create a costume for my pickle next week anyway. What is going to happen for the rest of the episodes? Would love to hear your feedback and thoughts. I didn't notice any AI used in this week's episode. Key thing to note, I made sure I looked out for it. They included pictures showing the difference between knit and crochet, but showing the difference between the stitches, not like the needles and the hook, because I had my eye ready and waiting. But I didn't see any sketchy AI. Doesn't mean it wasn't used. It meant I didn't notice it with my untrained eye. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, I post a video here every single Friday, and at the moment I'm posting a video every Tuesday as well, recapping the show. It would be lovely if you would subscribe. I am on the journey to 100,000 subscribers, so it would be great if you were to subscribe. But if at the same time you don't want to, I'm not offended. If you'd like to follow me on social media, links can all be found in the description box below, along with anything else that I think you might need. And with all that being said, leave me a comment down below, let me know what you thought, or if you didn't have an opinion on it, leave a beach themed emoji in the comments down below. It would be lovely to hear from you. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for being here, and thank you for spending this time with me, and I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye.